because I think like as I'm looking at all of your work, this is something, well, one, it's just really hard, but something that you can all benefit from. And so we're going to do some exploring in how do we further communicate without words. And some of this is just a little bit of an experiment to see if you all make similar choices. If you don't make similar choices, well, then we'll see what happens. So we're going to pause this beautiful masterpiece that you have all contributed to. And I'm going to take us to a blank screen, so no drawing yet. And what I'm going to do, I also like that you all have really strange names, is, it's okay. It's safe. No one knows who is actually drawing what. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say some prompts, and I shouldn't promise. I think they're designed to not be like overly intimidating, and you're going to respond to them, and then we're going to reflect on how you all responded. So your first prompt, your first job is to draw. Hold on, we have somebody trying to join us.
What screen, what board are we on?
Oh, geez, you're on board number 2. Good question. Oh, now I'm sending things privately to Libby. That is not helpful. Let me try again. Okay. Ben, who just popped on, if you want to click on the link I put in the chat, we are on board number 2 and doing some experimenting. Also, I completely understand you all might be trying to draw using your phone or a trackpad on your laptop or all kinds of weird things. Nothing tonight is going to be super complicated. So first thing you are going to respond to is, what does a happy line look like? Sophia, you should be able to, down here where my mouse is, see these different tabs. If you click on the 2, good question. That should get you to the second board. So you are responding to, what does a happy line look like? I like seeing all your little dots jumping around. Okay, you have about 30 more seconds to finish your happy line. All right, your time is up for your happy line. So what I would love to hear from some of you, and you can either type in the chat or you can unmute yourself and talk, whichever you want to do. What are some things that you see in common about the happy lines?
Definitely light colors, like nobody did a dark color at all.
Yeah, that's true. So we all had, they're kind of like bright, some are almost even more like pastel colors. So you guys were intentional about your color. Anything else?
They're not like sharp, squarey lines.
Yeah.
They're roundy.
I love it. Yeah, they all tend to be pretty smooth. Even like this blue one that is pretty straight because it was with such like a big brush. It feels like so much softer and kind of playful. This face kind of cracked me up. I did not expect that. Someone put out some contour line drawing on that one and drew us a happy face. So as we go through these, some of the things I want you just to be keeping in mind is there are parts of these that we often we don't naturally think about when we're making art because they almost come so naturally to us. So all of you, while you all made different types of marks when I asked you to draw a happy line, you all chose to pick brighter colors. We have the curves going on. Everything has kind of like soft edges. Those are all things that do naturally tend to make us think of being happy. We think of like circles and balloons, like childlike things all make us think of being happy. So those are things that you can also use when you're creating your artwork in what type of feeling are you trying to create, and then really thinking about what types of lines are you using to make that happen. So your next job is, we're going to stay on board number 2. Oh, don't erase your work. You're keeping your work. What you're going to do on this one is, what can you add to someone else's line? So something that you didn't draw on this page, what can you add to make it even happier? So you're picking a mark that wasn't yours and adding something to make it even happier. And set the timer. All right, so go ahead and finish up your happier marks. Looks like we got some more curves coming in. Something that reminds me of like sprinkles on ice cream. Flowers, like the flowers are growing in the ground. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to bottom. Ooh, wow. This surprised me. I thought it was going to be an empty page. Let me get you a new board. We're going to go to board number 4, and I'm going to give you another prompt. So for this one, so everyone make sure you go down to that bottom and get yourself over to board number 4. You are going to respond to, what does an anxious shape look like? What does an anxious shape look like? You have about 30 more seconds to work on your anxious shape. All right, and time is up. So what I would love for you to do is either share something you're observing of what is consistent about the anxious shapes on the page, or share, tell us a little bit about your thought process in the anxious shape that you chose to create. And as usual, oh, go ahead.
I see a lot of jaggedy edges, like nobody did anything that was soft at all.
Mhm.
And not everything, but most things weren't symmetrical.
Yeah. Yep. Any other observations about the anxious shapes?
They're all like more bright, dark colors.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. So so black came in this time, which wasn't used at all last time. And all of the colors definitely are darker, like reds, oranges, and pinks. Yep, they're all warm colors. Sawyer says they all have very harsh lines and darker colors. So again, we have these natural associations with what do different feelings, what do things that we can't really see, what do they actually look like? And so we think of anxious as like a lot of energy, which I see a lot in like the really quick, like jagged lines that are going all over the place, or like the idea of shaking. I thought it was interesting, even some of these really thin lines that showed up in being anxious can make someone feel kind of fragile. And those thin lines have a much more like fragile feeling to them. Thinner lines, if we think about line quality, really thin lines, they don't tend to feel as confident. And normally if we're feeling anxious, we don't tend to feel really confident. We have organic association to uncontrolled creation of lines, unsymmetrical, dark colors, sharp edges. I feel it is almost instinctual, like 30,000 years of primal instinct telling me this is not right. Yeah, that's what's like super, super interesting when we really back up and think about these and look at how it shows up in art. And then when you also start to make intentional decisions about it, it can be really, really interesting. All right, I'm going to switch your board to number 5. And so what you're going to do on this